Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's content tea party. It's been a very short week for me. I was a little bit unwell earlier this week, so it's been yet another short week after last week, which was a short week because we had a public holiday and a long weekend here in Malta. So I feel refreshed though. I have bounced back, so I am totally ready to share a lot of information with you. There's been some really exciting new developments with Instagram. So if you are an Instagram fan, do hang around because I'm going to share some really interesting news that's coming out this week. Actually, it's completely fresh new features for everybody to check out. If you use it every day, you may have noticed it. And if you haven't, you're going to learn about that right now. Then we're going to have a website review for Sayali, who has a website called YoTrip, which is a little bit unusual to the websites we compared to the websites we usually review, but it's definitely a very interesting one indeed. And finally, I will also announce towards the end. So if you're watching the replay, stay till the end so that you know what's happening next week, because we will be switching to the summer schedule. I'll be switching to a summer schedule for the weekly content tea party, just to enable more of you perhaps to, have the time to jump on and take a good look at the social media news and all the little tips that I share every week. It's going to change a little bit as well. The format's going to be slightly different for the summer, a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit more fun. I might be on the move every now and then, but I will do it anyway, which may give you a little bit of an unusual an unusual view, I suppose. Um, but for now, let's dive into what's happening this week. Okay, so let's begin with Instagram. So Instagram has just given us a nice new button where users can actually pin their comments. So you can pin any comment you want, and this is going to be available. If it's not already available, it is being rolled out. It's going to be available really, really soon. And it's going to be available to you whether you are a business or you are an individual. So it doesn't matter what kind of account you have, everyone's going to be able to do this. So here's what it's going to look like. So as you can see in the mobile app, you just need to swipe, and then you will get the option to pin your favorite comments, and of course you'll be able to scroll, pick it, and then pin it. So it's a very interesting new feature where maybe you have a live and you have a great comment that you want everyone to see, or maybe you're doing your own lives and you're sharing a link during the live. You want people to be able to see that link at the top, because of course you may have a lot of comments and it can be difficult to find. So that's a very, very good little bit of innovation there. The second one that I have for you is the Shops tab. Instagram has just added the Shops tab, and I have actually updated my app to see this, and it has not appeared for me. So it is still being rolled out. It's not available everywhere, but it's a nice little feature, and I found a screenshot online so that I can actually show you where it is. So you can now have your app, as you can see at the top over here. You can see this kind of little handbag shaped icon, and what this does is it's going to allow you to basically go shopping on Instagram. And if you have a business account, of course, it's going to allow you, it's going to bring people to your shop, allow you to put products online. So this is a great new feature being rolled out. The news says that it is available only to selected users. So we will see how that's being rolled out. We will see how that works out. But if you do want to check if you have it, you can go to the App Store or to the Google Shop, the Google Store. You can see that I use Apple. I'm not quite sure what the Android one is called. It's the Google Store. You can go and update your app, and when you update it, the new icons will appear. So those were two very interesting new Instagram features, which you should definitely check out and update your app to see if you have got them already in your part of the world. And now we're going to go to the weekly website. Oh, hi, Jacqueline. Jacqueline's joined us. So we're going to go to the weekly website review. And like I mentioned earlier, today's website is a little bit different because it's actually travel related. So we don't get too many of those. Okay, now Sayali said, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, Sayali. If I'm not, do let me know. I can definitely pronounce the name of the site. It's called YoTrip, and it's a very good, memorable name. I actually really like that. It definitely says, travel when you go in, so that's definitely great. The visuals are great. And it starts off with already searching a city or a hotel. So let's see if we can search and see what happens here. Now, the website is not 100% finished, it's still being populated, so there may be some things that we encounter. I like the fact that the logo pops up in color when you scroll up. That really, really helps the visibility. Okay, the font is nice. Okay, there's quite a lot to pick from. So as you can see, that is why you've put the search at the top. The search at the top did not work for me. If this is just sort of a bug because it's still under construction, that's great. If it's not working just for me, it could be my browser, so it may be something to check out from your end. Because I see the fact that we have so many different destinations and so many different pages, the fact that you have a search at the bottom, at the top, is a lifesaver. So if that doesn't work, it's going to become much harder for you to navigate the site. Okay, and then so you can pick your setting or you can pick your style. I like that. Yes, I'm assuming that of course you will be adding pictures to this because I can see that these have a very nice image style, which is great. It works really well when you have pictures like this because of course you're automatically drawn to the places, the kind of places you love. So that's really good. I would say at first I would be a little bit worried because there are a lot of links on the homepage, and that can sometimes make a page look a little bit spammy. However, because we are dealing with the tourism industry and with the travel industry, that is actually pretty common to have a lot of different options. So if you're not in the travel industry, try to be careful when it comes to the amount of links you put on a page. Don't put so many, but in this case, it should not be a problem. Okay, so subscribe. Just for the subscription, I would definitely try to add name as well. I know that probably a lot of people, you would think that it's easier to just put your name, your email address here, and your name, but because you're asking for the name as well, it's going to make a big difference to your email marketing, because when you send an email that is not just a newsletter, but it actually addresses the person by name, then you are going to have, a better relationship. You're going to warm up the relationship with your audience a lot better because you're speaking to them directly. So I would definitely say collect the name whenever possible. You can also use it in your email titles when you're sending important emails to push up the click-through rate. So definitely highly recommended to add the name over there. Okay. Most popular sites, which is great. This is very useful for this kind of website. I saw up here that you had travel blogs. Now, I'm not sure if this is a blog section. I believe it is. Yes, so this is a blog section. Um, so what I would do, ideally, in the homepage, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a little window into your blog from the homepage. So if you could potentially have 3 recent articles, I know you've got a lot of stuff, so you may want to just put them in the footer. If you can check my website, stephaniefitani.com, I just have a little plugin in my footer that gives you the latest 5 posts. It used to be 3, but I've upgraded it a little bit. So because what happens is that search engines will visit your homepage many, many times. And if they find new links to your footer, in your footer every time to your blogs, then of course they are more likely to go in and from your blog add even more pages to your indexing, which of course is really going to help. So definitely that would be a great idea. Another thing is, first of all, I love the layout. I must admit, I'm a lover of minimal. I'm not one of these people who believe that you need to have a little summary of the blog to get people to start reading. I think that the title and an image are usually enough to get people clicking, especially when you have great imagery like this. So, the only thing though, when it comes to categories, so here you have the categories, and I can see that you're showing the numbers in the categories. I would shy away from actually showing people how much information I have in each category. But what I definitely would do is, so when you are in a particular category, it really helps to have other links here to that particular category. And it's maybe a little bit confusing when I just mention it like this, but I'm going to actually show you. I'm actually going to show you how it's done on my site so that you've got a very clear example. And okay, so let's have a look at any blog post. And so see here on the side, I have added a menu here, which actually has a link to every blog post in the category you're in. And this is actually one of the simple, and it's one of the basic features that you can put in the widgets if you're using a WordPress site. So what you can do is you can tell WordPress that when you're in a particular category, you show this menu. And then of course you need to create the menu that shows all the items on the side. It's the reason why we would do it like this. So imagine Google has come to your homepage. It has found your 3 latest blog posts in your footer. It went through one of those, and on that footer page, it has found all the other, on that blog page, it's found all the other articles. So if there are any new ones that it hasn't indexed yet, it's going to automatically find its way through all these blog posts and all the links that they are connected to internally within the website and within the blog itself and also outside. So as you can see, you can have that little window, which is the new blog post in your footer, which can then take you sort of on a journey into much deeper content within the website. And of course, I can see that this is going to be a very content intensive site. And what you want is that as much as possible, your content gets indexed by itself without you having to do constant submissions to search engines with your sitemap and so on. Okay, yes, this is in fact something that is worth talking about. We mentioned the sitemap. In the old days, you used to get sitemaps in the footer over here. You don't really get that in sites these days. It's kind of gone a little bit out of fashion. You do have usually links to the main categories and the main pages, which is great for SEO. If you have a couple of popular freebies or popular blog posts, it's nice to also link them in the footer. And definitely one thing that you need to do is If you haven't done it already, I would definitely recommend going to the Google Search Console and uploading your sitemap to Google. For those of you who don't know what Google Search Console is, hang on in there because I'm actually planning to do a little training about it during one of the weekly Content Tea Party lives. So we will be actually covering this because what I'm going to do for the summer schedule, which I mentioned, I'm actually going to put in just some bites of training. There are little things that you can execute quickly that make a big difference when they add up in the long run. So stay tuned. I'm not going to keep you too busy, but I'm going to give you stuff that you can do really quickly. But the combined effect of all these little things that we're going to do are going to help your SEO, your blog, and your website. And you can have a snowball effect that really starts increasing the amount of leads and the amount of traffic you get on your site. So do stay tuned. So to come back to what I was saying, what I would do is I would create a sitemap. I use a tool called sitemap.xml because it is really, really easy to use. Okay, I should probably put that in the address at the top. Here we are. So this is a really simple tool. You can just create your sitemap by putting in your URL and then clicking OK. So it's found a mistake. It does that sometimes. Don't worry, it's just a bug in the site, or maybe it's got something to do with the way I've done my domain. Let's have a look. OK, there you go. So it starts finding your pages and it creates an XML sitemap. I'm not going to keep running all of this throughout, but basically what it does is it gives you a file that you can download and you can then upload it directly to Google to tell it, hey, these are all my pages. And why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because a website like this that's going to keep growing more and more content, you may want to resubmit the sitemap maybe every 3 months, depending on how much content you have added and how much content you have changed. What that does is it helps Google compare the sitemap you have uploaded to the pages it has indexed. There is a slight little catch though, that Google will not actually index every page you put in the sitemap. So just because you've told Google they exist does not mean Google thinks that they are worthy of being indexed in its search engine. So you will need to work on the quality. You will still need to work, obviously, on the content of those pages to make sure that Google likes them. But they will not have a problem finding them because you have uploaded them to your sitemap in the Google Search Console, which, like I said, we are going to be covering again. Right. Okay. So for travelers and for hotels, that's really great. I love websites that tell you exactly where to go depending on who you are. So if you're a hotel, then you can have content marketing and publicity partner. I would just increase this font a little bit. I find it a little bit small, just slightly. I think just 1 point would be enough. And I can see, of course, that you probably still finishing this website. Okay, what our customers say. I do like the fact that you have testimonials, and I highly recommend that. I must admit, I'm a little bit thrown by the fact that your testimonials have cartoon faces, because that makes me feel like they are not real people. I do like the cartoon faces when it comes to, sort of making a website more fun, but I do not believe the testimonials are the right place to do that because they make me feel like the people are not real. Of course, you may want to do a little bit of a focus group about this. You may want to get some friends and family together and, ask them to browse your site and see if they feel the same. But for myself personally, it kind of it jars a little bit because it's like a picture. It's like the testimonial face is hiding behind something. Okay, so for travelers, You make the travel plans easy, effortless, and efficient. I like the way the messaging works here. It's very clear and easy. And once again, I'd make the font just a little bit bigger. It probably has a lot to do with the fact that I'm not wearing my specs, but especially when I'm on mobile, I'm usually not wearing my specs, so it can be very handy, even for people in the general public, to just make sure that the font is big enough for everybody to see. Okay, so then we have for travelers. Okay, so all right. Okay, so I can see that these are probably placeholders because they're in both places at once. They're both in 4 hotels and 4 travelers. So yeah, so I can see that maybe you are going to change these. So maybe you are going to change them. They're just placeholders. Excellent. Okay, just one little tip. I was a little bit thrown by the word travel blogs, because I expected to find multiple blogs about different things. So I would change this to travel blog, just simple blog, because blogs implies that there are kind of um, blogs is the plural of blog. It doesn't imply that it's sort of blog posts. So it can be a little bit confusing. Other than that, it's a really beautiful site. I would just literally add a couple of side menus and some links in the footer. And of course, I know you have plenty more content to add, and you're good to go. Excellent. So let's see if I can come back. Here I am. Okay, so thank you very much for following that. I hope, Sayali, you found it really interesting. And if you have more questions, as usual, feel free to put them underneath this live. Feel free to say hello, even in the recording. I do keep following this video and answering your questions and your comments. So do feel free to pop anything underneath at any time. But let's talk now about next week's schedule. The Content Tea Party is going to move to Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And the reason why I'm doing this, of course, because my routine changes over the summer. So it becomes a little bit more difficult for me to actually be around on Friday afternoons because, as you know, the place where I live is a holiday island. It's really easy to just, drop everything and go to the beach. And of course, we can never wait to do that on a Friday afternoon. So we will be also moving to 6 p.m. Because although potentially earlier in the day is a little bit more convenient, 6 p.m. is also one of those times where a lot of different time zones can actually find it more easy to come and watch the live, because I know that some of you have actually sent me messages before and told me that 4 p.m. Wasn't a very good time because of the time zone. So hopefully 6 p.m. will be a little bit better. Yes, that would be 6 p.m. CET. Thank you, Jacqueline. Yes, we really do enjoy going to the beach. And, after 3 months of lockdown, it's like the one place where you can relax because there's plenty of social distancing, and the kids can also relax and really enjoy and run and play and finally meet each other because they've been doing online school. So it is definitely a step in the right direction, but we're still gonna have our content tea party, and like I mentioned, it's also going to have more training because we're going to go into some very interesting tips that you can execute yourself, with the idea of always improving your blogs, improving your traffic, and improving your lead generation. Okay, so as usual, if you have questions, leave them underneath, and feel free to get in touch if you have any questions, because I will still be doing the Q&A. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much, Jacqueline, and I really hope to see you again next week. And in the meantime, remember, I will make a few posts about this, that we'll be meeting on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Take care. See you next week.